Have you ever noticed how the people who try to control, manipulate, or provoke you disappear when you simply stop responding? Imagine holding a power so subtle, so profound, that it dismantles their influence without a single word. Today, we're uncovering the art of ignoring, the most ruthless power no one talks about. In a world dominated by noise, both literal and metaphorical, silence is often mistaken for weakness. People equate speaking loudly, arguing fiercely, or constantly reacting with strength. Yet, there is a form of power so subtle, so absolute, that it cannot be measured by volume, visibility, or recognition. This power is silence, the deliberate choice to withdraw, to withhold a reaction, to disengage from the expectations of others. It is an intentional stillness that creates influence without a single word. The person who wields silence understands a truth that few acknowledge. Attention is currency, and silence conserves it. When someone attempts to provoke or manipulate, their influence relies entirely on eliciting a reaction. Anger, frustration, fear, or defensiveness, these are the tools they use to impose themselves into your life. Silence removes the fuel from the fire. By refusing to respond, you deny them validation, attention, and the satisfaction of control. It is not passive avoidance, it is active restraint. It is choosing to operate from a place of self-possession rather than being tossed about by the tides of external noise. Those who master this form of restraint understand that the absence of reaction can be louder than any outburst. Silence also functions as a mirror, reflecting the intentions and character of those around you. When provoked, some people escalate their behavior, showing desperation or a lack of emotional intelligence. Others might retreat, revealing their true respect or fear of your calm. By remaining silent, you place the responsibility of action on the other person. You shift the dynamic, making them expose themselves in ways that would remain hidden if you engaged. Silence becomes a strategic lens through which you observe motives, measure authenticity, and understand the nature of the people you interact with. It is both a shield and a diagnostic tool. Moreover, silence is a sanctuary for your mind and energy. Every reaction, every argument, every debate consumes a portion of your vitality. Engaging with negativity or drama may feel like defending yourself, but in reality it often amplifies the influence of the very people you wish to resist. Choosing silence protects your mental and emotional reserves. It allows you to redirect focus toward growth, creativity, and meaningful pursuits. In this way, silence is not merely an absence of words. It is the presence of intention. It signals control over oneself, a mastery that cannot be imposed externally, but must be cultivated internally. There is also a psychological dimension to the power of silence. In moments when others expect confrontation, withdrawal can create unease, confusion, and curiosity. Humans are conditioned to respond to stimulus, yet when stimulus is met with calm stillness, it disrupts the expected pattern. This disruption can subtly shift the balance of power. Silence, in this sense, is disarming. It communicates confidence, discernment, and a refusal to be manipulated. It sets boundaries without aggression, projects strength without boasting, and exerts influence without intrusion. The beauty of silence lies in its dual nature. It conceals and it reveals. It conceals your vulnerabilities, your strategies, and your emotional triggers, protecting them from exploitation. Simultaneously, it reveals the essence of others. Their intentions, weaknesses, and tendencies emerge more clearly when met with calm observation rather than reactive engagement. It is a form of communication that transcends words. Those who understand this know that every comment left unsaid, every reaction withheld, is a deliberate act of power. Silence is not absence, it is presence, deliberate and intentional, a force that moves invisibly yet leaves an undeniable impact. In life, the greatest battles we fight are often invisible. They are not fought with swords, arguments, or loud declarations. They are fought quietly, within the mind, the heart, and the spaces where we allow others to touch our emotions. Emotional boundaries are the invisible lines that separate your inner world from the influence of others. They define what you will accept, what you will reject, and where your energy begins and ends. These boundaries are not built out of anger or indifference. They're crafted from self-respect, awareness, and the recognition that your attention, your feelings, and your focus are sacred resources. Many people live without clear emotional boundaries. They absorb negativity, internalize criticism, and allow the moods of others to dictate their own state of being. The result is exhaustion, confusion, and the slow erosion of self. Setting emotional boundaries, however, is a deliberate act of self-preservation. It is a recognition that while you cannot control the behavior of others, you can control your response. You can choose to engage or withdraw, to absorb or deflect, to care or conserve your energy. It is not selfishness. It is wisdom. Those who master this understand that their emotional stability is their most powerful asset. Emotional boundaries operate on multiple levels. There are boundaries that protect you from manipulation, those that safeguard your mental clarity, and those that preserve your emotional resilience. When someone attempts to provoke you, guilt you, or draw you into drama, a strong emotional boundary acts as an invisible barrier. You feel the impact of their words or actions, but you do not allow it to penetrate the core of your being. You recognize that their need to control, criticize, or judge is a reflection of them, not of your worth. By maintaining this distance, you prevent emotional leakage, the subtle loss of energy that occurs when we unconsciously react to the turbulence of others. Setting emotional boundaries requires self-awareness. You must first identify what triggers you, what drains you, and what aligns with your values. Awareness allows you to distinguish between what requires engagement and what merits silence. It also cultivates discernment, the ability to recognize toxic patterns before they take hold. This discernment is not rigid or cold, it is selective and intentional. You do not build walls to isolate yourself from the world, but rather to preserve the integrity of your emotional ecosystem. Your interactive ons become measured, meaningful, and energizing instead of chaotic or depleting. Boundaries also teach others how to treat you. People respond to what you allow. If you tolerate manipulation, invasion, or disrespect, these behaviors continue. When you enforce clear emotional boundaries, you communicate strength, clarity, and self-respect. You do not need to argue or explain endlessly. Your boundaries act as silent teachers, showing others the limits of acceptable behavior without confrontation. Those who respect themselves through boundaries naturally attract respect in return, while those who seek to exploit weaknesses are gently diffused by the impenetrability of your resolve. An often overlooked aspect of emotional boundaries is their role in self-care and growth. Every time you choose not to engage with negativity, you conserve energy for your personal development, creative endeavors, and emotional well-being. Boundaries allow you to invest in yourself, rather than being spent on the unpredictable demands of others. They are a framework for prioritizing your own mental and emotional health, creating space for reflection, learning, and transformation. Emotional boundaries are not a limitation. They are an enabling structure, a quiet but formidable force that preserves the integrity of your inner life. Self-awareness is one of the most underrated tools of personal power, yet it is perhaps the most effective form of protection one can possess. To be self-aware is to understand not only your thoughts and emotions, but also the subtle ways in which the world attempts to influence you. It is an internal radar, finely tuned to detect manipulation, provocation, and toxic energy before it has the chance to disrupt your equilibrium. Self-awareness functions as armor because it allows you to observe, assess, and respond, not react, to the situations and people that surround you. It transforms your mind from a battlefield into a command center, giving you the ability to act from clarity rather than confusion. At its core, self-awareness begins with reflection. It requires a willingness to explore your triggers, insecurities, and emotional patterns. What makes you anxious? What sparks irritation or defensiveness? What causes you to feel overextended or overwhelmed? By identifying these vulnerabilities, you create a foundation for armor that is both flexible and impenetrable. Understanding yourself is not about perfection or judgment. It is about knowledge and acceptance. The more you know about your inner world, the less likely others can manipulate it, because manipulation relies on blind spots, assumptions, and emotional ignorance. Self-awareness also equips you with discernment. When you encounter criticism, provocation, or emotional pressure, a self-aware mind is able to distinguish between valid feedback and attempts to destabilize you. It recognizes intention, separating the content of what is said from the motive behind it. This ability to evaluate before reacting is armor in its purest form. Without it, words and actions can penetrate, wound, and disrupt your emotional balance. With it, even the most aggressive attacks bounce off, powerless to penetrate a mind that is grounded in understanding and clarity. An essential aspect of self-awareness as armor is the ability to control responses. Reaction is often impulsive, emotional, and fueled by unconscious drives, while response is deliberate, conscious, and guided by knowledge of self. When you are self-aware, you can pause before engaging, consider the consequences of your actions, and choose the path that preserves your peace and integrity. This discipline transforms silence, withdrawal, or selective engagement from a passive tactic into a strategic weapon. It allows you to engage with precision or disengage without guilt, rendering attempts to provoke you ineffective and reinforcing your position of control. Self-awareness also amplifies resilience. Life inevitably presents challenges, criticism, and interpersonal conflict. But those who possess self-knowledge do not crumble under pressure. They understand the impermanence of emotions and the difference between perception and reality. They recognize that external chaos cannot infiltrate unless they allow it. This inner armor provides stability in uncertain circumstances, enabling you to navigate adversity without losing your composure. It allows you to maintain clarity even when others around you are swept into reactionary behavior, giving you a vantage point that few possess. Furthermore, self-awareness nurtures emotional intelligence, which is inseparable from personal power. Understanding your own emotions enables you to read the emotions of others with accuracy, anticipate intentions, and respond effectively. It fosters empathy that is discerning rather than enabling, and strength that is compassionate rather than aggressive. In this way, self-awareness functions not only as a protective shield, but also as a tool for influence, guiding interactions in ways that maintain your sovereignty while subtly shaping the environment around you. The armor of self-awareness is invisible, yet its impact is undeniable. It is quiet, often imperceptible to those who attempt to manipulate or destabilize you, yet it leaves a trace in the way they underestimate your composure, your foresight, and your control. It allows you to move through the world unshaken, grounded in the knowledge of your values, your triggers, and your capacity to respond with intention. This understanding becomes a protective barrier that cannot be breached through noise, drama, or provocation. The world around us often acts as a mirror, reflecting not only our own behavior, but also the true nature of those we encounter. This concept, sometimes overlooked, is one of the most profound tools for understanding human dynamics and maintaining personal power. When you learn to observe carefully, interactions with others can reveal far more about them than about yourself. Every insult, every attempt at manipulation, every burst of anger directed toward you serves as a reflection of their inner state. Mirror effect transforms social encounters into lessons in human behavior, allowing you to see clearly while remaining unaffected. At the heart of the mirror effect is the principle that people project their internal struggles outward. Criticism, judgment, and provocation are rarely neutral. They often stem from insecurity, fear, or a desire for control. When someone lashes out at you, it is seldom about your actions alone. Their words and behavior reflect unresolved conflicts, unmet needs, or hidden vulnerabilities within themselves. Recognizing this allows you to respond not from ego or defensiveness, but from understanding. By viewing others as mirrors rather than adversaries, you strip their attempts to provoke you of power because their behavior becomes informative rather than threatening. The mirror effect also operates as a tool for self-discovery. Observing what triggers emotional reactions in you, particularly negative ones, reveals unresolved issues within your own psyche. When you feel anger, frustration, or fear in response to another person's behavior, it is often a signal that something within you resonates with their actions. The intensity of your reaction acts like a magnifying glass, highlighting areas of vulnerability, unhealed wounds, or unmet expectations. Through careful reflection, these reactions become opportunities for growth, allowing you to address internal patterns rather than external distractions. Furthermore, the mirror effect exposes character. When confronted with conflict, some people rise with composure, humility, and integrity, while others reveal their insecurity, aggression, or need for dominance. By observing how others behave, particularly in moments of pressure or provocation, you gain insight into their true nature without relying on assumptions or superficial impressions. Silence, detachment, and measured observation amplify the mirror effect because it allows the other person to reveal themselves unfiltered, while you remain grounded and unaffected. Their energy becomes a display, a reflection of who they are, when the audience of your attention is neutral. This effect also enhances emotional intelligence and strategic interaction. By perceiving others as mirrors, you learn to navigate relationships with subtlety and precision. You recognize patterns in behavior, anticipate reactions, and adjust your engagement accordingly. You no longer act impulsively or defensively, but with insight. The mirror effect teaches patience and discernment, demonstrating that not every comment requires response, and not every challenge requires confrontation. Observing without immediate judgment allows you to maintain power while understanding the undercurrents of human behavior. Moreover, the mirror effect highlights the interconnectedness of influence. Energy, intention, and emotional projection are not contained. They ripple outward and return in kind. By controlling your own state of being, maintaining calm and composure, you influence the reflections others present. Just as their behavior mirrors their inner world, your presence mirrors your own stability and strength. Those around you cannot manipulate or destabilize you if your energy remains intact, because the projections are only effective when absorbed. In this way, the mirror effect is both protective and enlightening, revealing truths about others while reinforcing your own sovereignty. The subtle power of the mirror effect lies in its ability to educate without confrontation, to inform without interference, and to reveal without judgment. It allows you to transform every interaction into a lesson, every challenge into an observation, and every encounter into a reflection of deeper truths. Observing the world as a mirror cultivates clarity, resilience, and strategic insight, enabling you to navigate complex human dynamics with awareness and control. Energy is the most valuable resource a person possesses, yet it is often spent carelessly on people, situations, and distractions that yield little return. Every thought, every emotion, every interaction consumes a portion of your vitality. When this energy is misdirected, invested in drama, negativity, or manipulation, it diminishes your capacity to grow, create, and pursue purpose. Energy redirection is the deliberate choice to reclaim this power, to channel it toward endeavors, relationships, and states of being that enhance your life rather than deplete it. It is the conscious decision to invest where value exists and withdraw from what drains, transforming personal power into tangible results. At its core, energy redirection begins with awareness. You must first recognize where your energy is being lost. Often the greatest drains are subtle. A toxic colleague whose complaints linger in your mind, a manipulative friend whose emotions you carry, or a social media feed that triggers anxiety and comparison. Once you identify these drains, you gain the ability to intervene. Rather than reacting or attempting to control the source, you redirect your focus to areas that align with your priorities and values. In doing so, you not only preserve energy but also multiply its effectiveness. Redirection requires discernment. Not all demands on your attention are equal, and not every engagement is worthy of your vitality. By selectively choosing where to invest your energy, you exercise control over the trajectory of your life. Every moment spent reacting to negativity is a moment stolen from creativity, personal development, or meaningful connections. Energy redirection transforms your daily decisions into deliberate acts of power. It teaches the difference between urgency and importance. Highlighting that much of what commands attention is trivial unless it serves your larger purpose. One of the most profound aspects of energy redirection is its ability to neutralize negativity without confrontation. When faced with criticism, manipulation, or provocation, you do not waste energy retaliating. Instead, you channel your focus toward constructive actions, strengthening skills, pursuing goals, or cultivating emotional resilience. By refusing to feed the drama, you remove its momentum. Energy that once fueled chaos now propels growth. This redirection is not passive. It is active mastery over the flow of your life. It is an invisible but potent assertion of control, one that others cannot resist, influence, or diminish. Energy redirection also fosters alignment with purpose. When your attention is no longer scattered by distractions, you can fully engage with the endeavors that matter most. Creativity flourishes, decisions become clearer, and goals are pursued with intensity and precision. The redirection of energy amplifies focus, transforming ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Life becomes less about reacting to the pressures of others and more about consciously shaping your own experiences. Every action, thought, and decision becomes intentional, a reflection of inner strength rather than external compulsion. Furthermore, energy redirection enhances resilience and emotional balance. Emotional energy is finite, and when it is spent responding to every provocation or expectation, it leaves the mind vulnerable to stress and fatigue. By redirecting energy, you create a buffer against emotional depletion. You choose when to engage and when to disengage, when to invest and when to conserve. This not only preserves mental clarity, but also strengthens the ability to navigate challenges without being derailed. The skill of consciously managing energy transforms chaos into calm and pressure into opportunity. The beauty of energy redirection lies in its subtlety and universality. It is a form of power invisible to the casual observer, yet profoundly influential in outcomes. Every moment you refuse to expend energy on that which does not serve you is a moment invested in mastery, growth, and personal sovereignty. It allows you to rise above manipulation, distraction, and needless conflict, ensuring that your vitality is used intentionally, efficiently, and in alignment with your highest potential.